I thought I'd give something a little different a try and show you how I would do a dry set. In this case, my lovely gal has no product in her hair, just dry. On this first particular section, I'm just sectioning. So, not too terribly exciting. I've chosen to take and split the hair into 4 quadrants so that I can have a little bit more control over the hair. You can see my cute curls. And we'll be starting in the rear right quadrant. And just show how using pin curling methods you can dry set the hair. So starting wrapping around my 2 fingers on my left hand, I can then wrap it up. I'm using single prong clips because they're going to hold better on a dry set. But basically, I am wrapping the hair down the fingers and then tucking the ends into the middle of the curl, where I will secure it with a single prong clip. And then we'll just part out the next subsection. This is something that I will do occasionally for myself. I won't pre-wet the hair. This is a little bit more challenging to get the ends inside the curl because without any moisture, they do like to fly away. So a thing that I will do is wrap the hair around and then slide the ends between my 2 fingers before I slide the curl off, and then it usually will pull those ends right into the middle of the curl. I'm keeping these pretty large size curls, so I've only done 2 curls per subsection. So I'm holding that end piece with my fingers and tucking it back in because it tried to run away. Hold and clip. Then taking the curls, or what will be the curls, and wrapping them around my fingers, securing between my fingers before I pull the hair off to make the curl, wrap it into itself, and clip. Now this is a little bit different because the top row of curls is going to have a much longer stem. This is still based somewhat on a 1940s ideal. So making sure that you can see what we're doing. I am wrapping the whole long section around my hands, and there is a lot of little loose hairs that are trying to run away. but I think I captured them decently well. And then the same thing, trying to keep the hair smooth, wrap it around my fingers, grab the ends between my fingers, and then tuck it into itself. And then we'll give it a little clip. And we'll take, well, once I get that clip secure, and then we'll take a little look here. So here's the first section, the first quadrant done. Grand total of 8 curls there. And we'll move on to the back left quadrant. After some adjustment so we can see, we'll move along and do basically the same pattern. I'm going to be using my right hand to hold the curls. And one thing is that I always do my curls in the order that they will lay on top of each other. So since all of these are going towards the front, so starting down low and rolling towards the front, we start in the bottom front corner, and then we build up from there so that all of the curls can lay comfortably on top of each other, rather than, say, starting at the top and likely running into trouble when you are trying to reach the hair that is down low. So now I'm just adjusting, and then we shall clip and continue with the same pattern around my right fingers this time. I generally tend to pick whichever hand is the most useful for the direction of the curl. And I do try to alternate which hand I use as my curl base, mostly for the sake of I like things to stay relatively even and symmetrical. So I find that when I switch hands as I switch sides, it helps maintain the integrity and shaping of the curls as I go. So you can see I put it between my 2 fingers so that I can slide those ends into the middle of the curl, sliding it along until we get it secured. And as I've said before, we're using single prong clips to ensure that these curls will stay, as there's no moisture or product to help a hairpin grip the curl. When I do my own hair, it tends to just be a bobby pin, but I didn't feel like pulling out bobby pins for this. You can see here I'm having a little issue with trying to get some of these layered ends to tuck in nicely, but after some futzing, it worked out. And then our last section, once more, long stems, wrapping around my fingers, between my fingers, pull it through, and watch. So I roll this up and encourage those ends to stay in the interior portion of the curl. Putting our last pin in, and then we get to take a little look at this section once more. Only 8 curls. So far, simple enough. And as I get started here, I just wanted to point out that our part is a little off center. So you can see that she's going to not have a center part in her hair, and that will make our front sections just slightly asymmetrical. They will follow mostly the same plan, but when we get to the top, it will shift a little bit on the right-hand side. Here we are on the left. I've chosen to encourage the curls to aim backwards. So I've chosen as well to use my left hand as my base for the curls. And since they are going towards the back, I started the curl pattern on the bottom left corner closest to the back so that I can lay my curls on top of each other if necessary. And I'm using still a large curl size, so only 2 curls per row until I get to the top, which you will see then there will be a 3rd curl just to account for the fringe section if she had a fringe. But we will continue with wrapping these curls around my left fingers, and then there it is between my fingers, slid down until I have a curl that I can hold on to and position. And then, oh, there we go. Had a little catch there. And we'll do another row of just 2 curls. Her hair is in pretty good shape, so I don't have to comb it as much as somebody might if they weren't already styled smooth. We'll just continue in the pattern as we go here. I do like to encourage a smoothness to the hair and the curl, and if it wasn't as cooperative, I would be running a comb through each strand as I was making the curls. And then we shall come up to the last subsection in the front left quadrant, and this one I am splitting into 3 curls, but still using my fingers here, tucking it around and rolling it up, placing it, holding it, and then clipping that in there. And then doing it again. It is a lot of doing the same thing over and over again, but there is such a lovely look to hair that has been set. I don't know, I find it quite enjoyable to see the pattern as it goes. And then when it is brought out of a set, wet set, curling iron set, or otherwise, that You know, sometimes it'll sit and hold, especially if you've put a little product in, say like a mousse or gel, that it'll sit and stay. So here we're going to see we have a whopping grand total of 9 curls. And now our last section, which will be the front right, and due to the parting, this one will have an extra row as what came from the left side. And so now I have switched to using my right hand as my curl base. And we'll slide a pin in, and then wrapping the curl, see, around my right fingers and between my fingers, sliding it off and telescoping that curl right into itself. I also find that using a dry set as such is quite nice to avoid getting too many pin indents. Now you might notice that we started this section in the back bottom corner because the hair is being directed towards the back, all of the curls directed towards the back of the head, and I want to make sure that I can stack them on each other as necessary and not have to disrupt a previously laid curl to get to uncurled hair. That is one of the key features of many hair styling technique instructionals is planning the order that they are going to go in. So here we're still sticking with 2 curls per row, and then when we get to the top, which will be the next 2, you see there I grabbed it with my fingers. Now we can roll that up, tuck in the little hairs as they sometimes want to stick out, and pin it. Then we'll do it again. It is repetitive, but it's kind of a zen sort of thing for me. Just come in here, place the curl, and if it sits really nicely, it gives you kind of a feeling of accomplishment. Oh, yeah, that looks nice. And then sometimes they don't like to play by my rules. That one didn't want to play very well, and that's okay. And then we have our top section that we'll actually get 2 more rows out of. So now we will have 2 rows of 3 curls. Why I was holding on to that clip for so long, I do not know. So now we're just going to tuck that. I apologize for not tipping the head a little bit down to where you could see this top section a little bit better. But I assure you, I am doing the same pattern, the same technique all the way through. Just slide it off my finger and roll it all the way up, and then pin away. And we'll do it again. This one's a little bit more in the fringe section. This is really where I'm getting the third curl from in both sides is right up here in the fringe section. And then we'll come into the last row, which will be another 3 curl row. And now it's probably, at least it seems to me, a little bit more difficult to see what I am actually doing. My hands seem to be very much in the way, but I will say once more that I am simply continuing the pattern all the way through. And you can do this same idea with smaller subsections. You can make smaller curls. You can choose to make them into stand-up curls, or you can have them all go in the exact same direction. You can alternate directions in each row, and that will actually lead more to a finger wave look. If you say first row goes back, second row goes forward, third row goes back, fourth row goes forward, that can make a more finger wave look in the end. And here we are with the last pin. And now this is a collection of 12 curls in this section. So here we have our lovely lady, and we're just going to take a little bit of water, and it's just plain water, and all I'm doing is spraying it just to give it a little bit of encouragement to dry and stay in this pattern. So you can see that we have a lovely little set here that there's not that many curls all told, but will make a lovely set when she is dry. Thanks for watching.